Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Crimi-Trent. Today I'm going to teach you how to make simple holiday greeting cards, starting from easy to a little bit harder to a little bit harder, but all doable and very easy to learn. So let's get started. Okay, for the first card, this is going to start very easy. The cards are going to go in progression from easy to a little bit harder to a little bit harder. This is going to be the simple greenery card. I have my arches 100% cotton cold pressed paper, but you could pretty much use any paper that you feel like. And if you wanted to use this paper and not deal with the expense, you can just, instead of having the paper and fold in half, just tear this apart and have the two sides and place that on a cheaper piece of paper. And you can have like a border around it to make it even fancier if you want. So I've got my paints here. I have my cadmium green permanent, burnt umber. This is cadmium red. This is a dark cadmium yellow. I have my hooker's green, indigo blue, and Paynes gray. So I'm going to grab my Grumbacher number 10 brush, get it wet. I'm going to grab some hooker's green. Get it fairly wet like that. A little bit, clean up the brush, grab a little bit of the medium yellow, grab a little bit of the Paynes gray, and you get this kind of greenish gray color. And we're just going to start by using the tip of this brush, strokes downward like that. Another one down like that. Like that. We're also going to mix up, take some of that medium green over here, clean that off, grab some of the yellow, grab some of that Paynes gray, a little bit of the red. Going to get that, and that's looking a little too olive, so I'm going to go back in and grab the green. See how light a green. I'm going to take this color. We want to mix up the colors on the pine needles. Just washing it, swiping it down like so. On this one, you can make a different type of leaf if you want. You just push down on the belly of the brush, or vice versa. Go backwards and push and pull it. As you can see here, give it a variety leaf. I'm going to go on this one, go back in and do the same as the one next to it. I'm going to take that dark green, going to come down here, make the similar leaves. I'm going to add a little more concentrated green in this, pulling out leaves like this. Like so. You want to go in and grab your burnt umber over here. Take some of the red, add that to it. A little bit of the Paynes gray. A little more of that, the dark brown. And we're going to make stems for our berries. Okay. Pull it up a little more so you can see it. You can even add some dark green, brown little stems in there. Making it pretty simple. I'm pulling it out here. And pull it over here. Clean that brush off. Now I'm going to grab the red. Grabbing this red. I can mix it up over here. Grab a touch of the indigo blue. A little more of that red. Brighten it up. I'm just going to make our simple berries like so. Add a few more back here. And a few more over here. And over here, I'm going to put some darker value of the green on top of the other green. Give it some variety. Make it a little more concentrated. If it bleeds, that's fine because it gives it some dimension. Put on the pine needles. There you go. This one doesn't have any light tones to it, so I'm going to add some of those back in. You can drag it down if you want. Now you can just leave it plain like this and put some writing here, or you could add some of the greenery over here in the corner. Pull some out over here. Brown. Change it up a little bit. Just leave it like that to dry. Or you could add a gold edge coming down from here across and up. Or you can add some gold elements in here itself. This is just really simple and easy. Now we're going to go on to the next one. The next one will be the bird and the wreath. So if you don't know how to draw a bird, I'm going to draw this bird for you so I can show you how to do it. Simple and easy. You're basically making like a half semicircle, and you're going to do a line, a semicircle kind of on top of that, so it makes a shape right there. Then we're going to pull kind of like a triangle with little bumps for his tail, and then just make a half circle there, put his eye, his beak, another half circle, little legs. And you can change all this up. I mean, you don't have to follow this. You could make a half circle, line again, here's his eye and his beak. You can make the wing come up like this. A lot of different ways. Okay, so I've already sketched that out here on my paper, and I put a round circle to indicate the wreath. So we will work on the bird. Make it any color you want. I'm going to just be like red with some browns. So I'll make most of the body red. And I'm using a Grumbacher number 2 brush. Leaving that Just filling in like so. If you want to add some deeper alizarin crimson to like the edges, let it bleed in, you could do that. While that's drying, I'm going to work on the tail. I think I will keep that red as well. That's a little too watery. Let's get some more paint on there. And I'll put a little more paint of red in here. So while that's drying, the bird, we'll work on the wreath part. Pull this up. Simple wreath. I will be using my bigger brush, my Grumbacher. Pull this out more so you can see the paint colors. We're using the burnt sienna with a little Paynes gray in there. Get it darker. It's a little too dark, so lighter yellow. Okay. So we're going to kind of work a wet on wet technique type of situation here. We're going to just go in the circle. It's losing its brown, so I'm going to go back and grab some brown. Just going like that. Get a close up this. Grabbing my hooker's green with the little yellow. Getting that fairly loose. Just making some simple leaves here. Careful not touching that tail. Simple. Grabbing some of the darker green. You could mix that with Paynes gray, or you could mix it with indigo. Give it real dark. If you want to bleed that in a little bit, you could do that. Go like that. Grab the lighter green, mixing the yellow and the hooker's green. Again. Take some of that brown. Gonna pull out some branches here. Gonna grab the red. Just make some simple berries. Down here. A branch here. Grab some simple leaves like that. Make some different leaves like this. Now over here we're going to pull this out and put some berries on this one. It's fairly loose. You want to put some darker red, alizarin crimson red. Give it some variety. You can go ahead and do that. Put some berries up over here. These are deeper ones. With some brighter ones. Add the stem to that. Put some leaves. Take that darker green. Just play around with the different types of leaves going around the wreath. Doesn't have to look exactly like this, but you get the point. You can work fairly fast doing this. Just getting the variety here. Do you get what I mean? Going back to the bird, I'm going to grab my tiny brush. So it's fairly dry now. I'm going to make the top area a little reddish brown. Some burnt umber, some red. And that doesn't seem like it's a different color, so I'm going to add a little more of that concentrated burnt umber with some Paynes gray. And just go in and dab that around the edges. Going to do the same thing on the bottom down here. For the face, I'm going to use that medium yellow. Mixed in with some of the red. Let me see if you can see that. My palette closer. So, no. Palette's too big. So, the red, a little yellow. It's kind of orangey. Hitting the face area. Leaving the white part for the eye. Grab the yellow concentrated, actually, and just a little bit of wet. We could do that for the beak. We don't have to do that for the beak. Actually, I think I'm going to skip that and make that black instead of yellow. So I'll grab the Paynes gray, which is almost like black, but it's gray. And put this little beak in like so. I'm going to wait till that part dries to use that. The tail, let's grab some of that deeper red. Put some lines on the tail. With the bird, it's still kind of drying right here. We can grab some Paynes gray and the burnt umber, really concentrated. We could just make some lines. Little lines like this going across in the bottom. And then put his little legs in the black. Fairly simple. The eye, just grab the concentrated Paynes gray. You want to leave a little white dot. If you can't, you just can go back over it with some gouache for his little eye. Now I'm not liking the stripe I put there, so I can just go in, get that wet, and kind of sop it up. If you didn't like what you put down, sop it up. get it wet. I actually like that better. And I'm going to take the same thing out here. Didn't like how that looked. I like it without it. And it has that light edge. I mean, excuse me, dark edge, light middle, which I kind of like better. Yeah. See how you can fix things? And this part is sticking a little too much, so I'm going to go in and grab some red. Fix that. And around here, pull this back. I want to add little skinnier details, like little lines. So I use a smaller brush for that. Like I said, you play around with the greenery on the outside of the wreath, but you pretty much get the idea. Of how it should look. And for the berries, I'm going to go and attach the branch to them up here. And grab some of the Paynes gray and just put a little black dot at the end. Well, some of these are too wet. A little black dot. And if you wanted to add like another little brown, smaller branch, brownish reddish branch out here, could do that. Put some berries on that. Just change things up. And there's the wreath one. And we're going to go on to the next one. For the last one, I'm going to show you how to draw the owl. This is pretty easy. So we'll zoom in. So for his head, pointy ears like a cat, line across, pointy ears. We're going to pull it down but circular like this. For his little wing, it's like a circle going into a line like that. And then for his eyes, obviously circles. His little beak. There you go. Now you can change it up again. You don't have to make it that kind of owl. You can make an owl like this. Body. The arms could be in like this. The eyes. The beak. The legs. Another one you could do is the owl head. Here's the body. Arms out like this. Beak. Eyes. You can do like that, or like this. You know, you just have fun with it. There's so many ways you can make an owl. You can put a little cap on him. Look how cute. Or a little hanging cap. You can have clothes. You can have a top hat. Change it up. So put that away. And I've sketched my owl on my paper, my cold press Arches paper. Like I said, it doesn't have to be this particular type of paper. You could use all kinds of paper. Obviously, if you're starting out, you don't want to use expensive paper like this. If you did want to use this paper and you don't want to pay all this money for it, like I said, you just take the size of the paper and just take it apart and put it on another piece of paper. So I sketched out my owl, the first one I drew out that I showed you. I'm going to do his body, this wing part, and then his body in red and then crimson. So I got the red. Let me just clean off this area for you first, because it's gotten quite dirty. There we go. So grab some of this red. I have some crimson over here. I'm going to put that in there, making a fairly brighter red. You can dull it down with a little brown or a little green. Gonna do his wing. In the bright red. Medium concentration, not super loose and not super dry with the paint. For the eyes, I think I'll make those brown, a little bit red and green in there. So it's an orangey brown. Just going to fill this in. Now I'm using a fairly big brush. You don't have to use this size brush because it might be difficult for some in the beginning to use this size brush, but I paint a lot, so I'm kind of used to it. Going to fill that in. We're going to wait for these two to dry before we go back into the rest of it. So in the meantime, we'll do the branch with the greenery. I just mixed that brown with some green. And it's kind of light, so I'm going to add some more burnt umber. A little of the Paynes gray. Clean that off. Grab some of this medium green. You can just go right in this palette. That's just what I do all the time. I just mix paints continual together, and I can clean that off. Grab some of the yellow, and look, I've got it on light green now. I don't have to keep cleaning the space. Let's make some leaves. Just pushing down the belly of the brush and then pulling back up. Do some over here. Pushing down, pulling it up, pushing down, pulling it up. And then using the tip of it to make the little stem that attaches. You want to go back in and grab some of the dark hooker's green over here. Get this little wet, a little indigo. You can hit the tips on the ends of these. You can add a little of that spiky green foliage. Changing it up like so. And you can go in and grab some of the crimson. I have crimson over here I put down. Put some berries. It's still wet, so it might bleed into the other one, but just if you want to wait till it dries, you could do that. Put some berries over here. Play around with how many berries you want. Let that dry. So while that's dry, now that we have the crimson color, we can go in. We can make a nice fun stripe on his wing, like so. And this is supposed to be the hardest card, but I think it's not that hard. cute is that? We can make his body dark green, the dark red, brown. I think I'm going to do dark brown. So I have some of the burnt umber mixing with the Paynes gray and a little of the red. Get a little of that red in there. Get it fairly loose. We're just going to go fill in his body. So you have some brightness with the red, and then the brown gives it that more natural look, although obviously this owl is not natural. He's cute, he's not natural. So we're going to fill that in. We're going to take this brown, we're going to get a little more concentrated with paint on it. I'm going to go around his eyes, like so. If it bleeds, well, then you should wait till it dries. But if it's fairly concentrated, it shouldn't bleed that much. Then we're going to do his little beak, yellow. We have to paint the yellow first because it's watercolor. If you want to paint this, like we're going to paint this like a greenish color, you paint that first and then the yellow. It's not going to look yellow because it's not like acrylic paint or gouache where you can go on top of it. You have to go next to it. So we could balance it out with this olivey green on the top of him in this head part. And if you don't like that, you can add another color on top of this green and it should be fine. We're just going to go in here and fill this in. The other parts are fairly dry, so it shouldn't be so bad. If you're afraid and you want to leave a white halo around it, that's fine too. Takes a little longer with a smaller brush, but you can get there. And then you have more control, obviously, with the smaller brush than you do with the larger brush. Now it's still fairly wet. Pull this up. See, this is still fairly wet. If you want to go in and take some of that Hooker's green just to the edges. And let it bleed in. If it's not loose enough, you might want to get a little more water on the paint so it bleeds even more. And it just gives it that almost like a three-dimensional quality. So this is not bleeding enough, so I'm going to put some regular water and move it around in it. Mush it around. If you're wondering, if you see people who do watercolors, how they get that effect where it's really dark on the edge and light in the middle, they do it that way, or they layer it. See, it didn't bleed, so I had some water to mush it around and pull it out. And you get that little effect. It's a little wet in there. So we're gonna now work on his body. Again with the dark, more concentrated burnt umber mixed with Paynes gray, so it's like almost like blackish brown. Fairly concentrated. On this one, we're going to make little scallops, little scallop lines like this, and you're going to hit every other line like this, so they look like feathers. You go all the way down. like so. When that dries, you could put little white dots in the middle, whatever you feel like. I'm going to add his little legs. So this is still a little wet. So what I'm going to do is dry him and come back so we can finish him up. Okay, he's dry. So now we can add some more detail. So you can zoom in a little more. Okay, there we go. Again with that dark brown, I'm gonna just go around the edge again, the circle. Just to give it another bit of detail. Gonna take the Paynes gray or black, whatever you have. There's his eye. If you want to, make little lines on the outside, like so. Just gives him even more detail and dimension. Clean that brush off. Grab some concentrated Hooker's green. Mix with a little Paynes gray or a little indigo. Get it somewhat loose, not too loose. You could do polka dots around him on the outside of his body here. I might want to do little dash lines. Again, giving more dimension. For the this part with his little feathers, you can go in and grab some gouache, white gouache. I'm gonna take some white gouache I have. Gonna mix it with the yellow and a little bit of the red and a little bit of the burnt umber. So it's kind of like a pale tan color, but it will be opaque. So we can go in and just do little dots. Look at that. It just makes the guy have more detail. And look how cute he looks. Look at that. So, easy, a little harder, and hardest, but very doable for anybody to do these. I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial today. If so, please like and share and subscribe, and thank you so much for stopping by, and have a great day.